Alrighty, welcome back. We're at it again. 5 more questions for Network Plus. 5 more questions to help you pass that certification exam. Trying to keep our videos around that 10-minute mark. I'm failing exorbitantly lately, right? I'm right around 15 to 20 minutes. But we're going to try and knock it down a little bit more. But I don't want to give up the depth. I don't want to give up the depth of going through and actually answer the questions. So we may just be stuck. We may be stuck with it. That's okay. Let's get right into it. Let's get to question number 1. Question number 1, which layer of the OSI model is responsible for establishing, managing, and terminating connections between applications? What do you think? What do you think on this one? Remember, we want to spend only about 30 to 45 seconds per question, right? That's our goal, 30 to 45 seconds per question. If we spend more than that, we stand the chance of having problems. So if you're looking at this question and you're going, I have no idea, I want you to guess. I want you to flag it on the top right-hand side corner of your exam when you take the actual exam. Take a guess, and flag it, and then we can review it. Maybe we'll get some hints as we go through the other questions that would help us out in answering this question later down the road. However, if we leave it blank and we run out of time, then we have a 0% chance of getting it right. 0%. If we can eliminate even one, we have a 33% chance, right? And that brings us back, right? Even by guessing, I've got a 25% chance of getting it right. If I can eliminate 1, 33% chance. If I can eliminate 2, that's a 50% chance. And of course, if I eliminate 3, well, then I know the answer. I know the answer. All right, let's answer this. If you need more time, go ahead and pause that video. So which layer of the OS model is responsible for establishing, managing, and terminating connections between the applications? Well, it's not A. Physical layer manages the transmission and reception of raw bits over the medium. Now, this medium could be Wi-Fi, it could be a physical connection, but it's all about the raw bits. It's all about the raw bits on there, right? So not going to be A. Not going to be A. If you said, well, let's do data link. If you said the data link layer, well, this handles error detection and correction. It also handles framing and control of the data transmission between 2 directly connected nodes, i.e. between your client and your switch, between your switch and a server, whatever it is. It's two directly connected nodes. That's where the error correction comes into play. This is a little bit different from error correction that we see later on. That leaves C and D. C and D. Well, if you said D, I'm sorry, you'd be incorrect. This ensures reliable data transfer. It also handles flow control and error recovery between the systems. So error recovery, flow control, and data transfer. That's transport layer. C is actually responsible for establishing, managing, and terminating connections. And I feel like we did some of it. So what is the network layer? Well, this manages local addressing, right? Handles our routing of packets across networks and different destinations. We also see the presentation layer, right? That's layer 6. This translates the data between the application layer and the network. This handles encryption, compression, and format conversion. And of course, the application layer, well, this provides network services directly to the end user of the application, such as web browsers and emails. That's where that comes into play. But the answer for this one, definitely going to be C. There we go. All right, question number 2. What is the primary purpose of NTP in a network? NTP. Now, this is one of those questions where if you know the acronym, pretty much gives the answer to you. If you know what the acronym is, it really provides that aspect, and I keep on slamming this. All right, you'll hear me say this all the time. Know your acronyms. Knowing by simply knowing your acronyms, 40% of the exam answers itself. I firmly believe that. That's not official. That's Dr. K, right? That's me going through and going, that's pretty much on there, right? 40% of the exam is just knowing acronyms. And if you can know those acronyms and you know what they stand for, then this question literally answers itself. All right, let's go ahead and answer this question. What is the primary purpose of NTP? If you need more time, go ahead and pause this video. If not, we're going to continue on. I think we could start with D, monitoring network traffic. I can safely say that it does not monitor network traffic. That is not something that this does. What about managing IP address assignments? Probably not something NTP knocks out. That's not a realistic function of NTP. And you'll notice that I'm specifically not saying what the acronym is. But that's okay. It's okay. We're going to tell you in a second, right? What about providing secure remote access or synchronizing clocks to network devices? Well, if you knew that NTP is network timing protocol, right? If you knew that, then you would know that synchronizing clocks on network devices kind of sounds like network timing. It's like one of the same. It really just answers the question for you. Providing secure remote access, no, not going to be one of the things. So there it is. Network timing protocol synchronizes clocks, network devices. I feel like that was an easy one if you knew what NTP stood for. It literally answered the question for you. All right, moving on. I feel like we're doing good time on this one. I feel like we are. All right, which protocol is commonly used for VoIP communications? Which one is usually used for VoIP communications? I feel like this is another one that's the easy one just by going through the process of elimination. Even if you don't know what it is, you could go through and kind of go, okay, well, maybe it's this one. What do you think? Remember, 30 to 45 seconds. We want to keep these 30 to 45 seconds. We don't really want to go over that. This is going to give us enough time to skip those performance-based questions at the beginning, answer our questions. It's going to read the question, read the answers, reread the question, make sure that we understand what the question's asking us, and then answer the question, and then move on. That's 45 seconds, max. 45 seconds. We don't really want to spend more than that because we want to have enough time at the end of the exam to knock out those PBQs, those performance-based questions, and we want enough time at the end of it to go over our flagged answers that maybe we weren't sure about, right? All right, so which protocol is commonly used for VoIP communication? Go ahead and pause the video now. There you go. There's your warning. All right, I think we can safely say it's not FTP. I feel like FTP is the easy one on this one. File transfer protocol, right? We use this to transfer files between the client and the server. Not really something FTP would be associated with. I feel like FTP was an easy one. So even if you didn't know it and you took a guess, you have a 25% chance, right? If you got rid of FTP, we now have a 33% chance of getting it right. All right, so that leaves SMMP, SMTP, and SIP. Well, if you guessed SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, I'm afraid that would be incorrect. And again, just by knowing what that name is, we can kind of rule it out. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol is used for sending and routing emails between the mail server and, of course, over the internet or on the internet, right? So not something that handles secure VoIP communication. That leaves SIP and SMMP. Well, Simple Network Management Protocol, it sounds really good, but it's used for managing devices over IP networks. It allows administrators to monitor network performance, detect faults, and configure network devices. So going to be SIP, Session Initiation Protocol. This is used for initiating, maintaining, and terminating real-time communication sessions, such as voice and video. So SIP is going to be our answer. That's going to be it. SIP. There we go. There it is. All right, moving on. Next question. Given the following CLI output from a router, which port is likely experiencing performance issues due to duplex mismatch? Duplex mismatch. All right, what do you think? I know we've got WS1, printer 1, API 1, server 1. We have some statuses in there. I feel like this is a good question. I feel like this would be a question that I think if you're inexperienced in this, it would kind of throw you for a loop, right? And that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're here to learn, right? So let's go ahead and answer this one. I haven't given you enough time. We'll give you a few more seconds. Of course, we're looking at those port numbers on the left-hand side. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what our question's asking. So which one is experiencing performance issues? Now, a lot of you probably went to GIO2, and you probably looked at printer 1 and said, oh, it's not connected. That must mean it has a performance issue. No, that is a connection issue because it's not connected. So not what we're asking here. So GIO0 /2, the printer 1, not going to be our answer. Not going to be our answer because that has a connection issue, not a performance issue. And there is a differentiator between the two. So we can get rid of number 2. That leaves 1, 3, and 4. Well, if we said 4 on our server, right, we can see that it's connected. We see it's on a VLAN. We see it's using a full duplex and 1000 speed. But if we look at 1, workstation 1, we can see it's connected on VLAN 10 with full duplex and 1000. And I feel like it's the same thing. Like there's no difference between them except for the names. And that's a surefire guess. Even if I didn't know the right answer, I could eliminate those two, which would bring me to my correct answer, which is AP1. So why is it AP1, right? Because I feel like that's the important differentiator between we're looking at this. Why is it AP1 and not one of the other ones? Well, we ruled out number 1 because it's not connected, and that's a connection issue. But why is it AP1? Well, I want you to look at the speed. Look at the speed. See how the other two are 1000 and auto, and then AP1 is on 100? That means it's only operating at 100. We might see a 10 there as well. That would be a mismatch, a duplex mismatch, right? We can also see that it's at half duplex instead of full duplex. So we see the speed in conjunction with the duplex mode of half, and that gives us some performance issues. Now, if we had half duplex and we were at 1000 speed, then would there be a mismatch? No, there would not. But in this case, that's going to be our problem child right there. And I feel like with process of elimination, we can answer it. That's going to be GIO 03 is going to be our answer. There it is right there. All right, last question for the night. What is a common challenge associated with BYOD in a corporate environment? And I feel like in order to answer this question, you actually have to know what BYOD is. Another one of those pesky acronyms that I've been talking about. So what do you think? What is a common challenge associated with BYOD in a corporate environment? What do you think? I feel like this is an easy one. I feel like if you know what BYOD is, and you're probably going through this and you're like, oh, okay, I know what it is. I know what it is. All right. Well, I think we can get rid of limited bandwidth for wired connections, because I feel like if you know what BYOD is, then you would know that wired connections have little to nothing to do with them. And don't worry, we're going to tell you what BYOD is in a minute. So, not going to be D. I feel like D is an easy one to get rid of. All right. Let's go with what BYOD actually stands for. Bring your own device. Bring your own device, right? So we're talking about cell phones. We're talking about bringing my own personal device into the corporate atmosphere, right? And that's why limited bandwidth has nothing to do with it, right? So we've given you the acronym. Let's kind of knock this one out, right? So high cost of hardware. Well, if I'm bringing my own device, then there is no hardware cost, right? Because that's one of the main benefits of it, is that employees bring their own hardware, so the company doesn't have to pay for it. So A, not going to be it. That leaves B or C, lack of available IP addresses or difficulty in securing personal devices. I feel like if you knew what BYOD is, then you knew that it's difficulty in securing personal devices, because a lot of times we don't have full control over it. Not only that, we don't own the devices because we're letting employees bring their own devices. So it's really hard to secure those devices, really hard to ensure that they meet all of our standards. In that form, we can understand that C, difficulty in securing personal devices, is going to be our answer. And there you have it. Okay,